details behind this raid and what we've learned about a possible connection to our state's opioid crisis. Brian.
Yeah, David, it really says something when the DEA says the Pacific Northwest is drowning in meth. Now, this raid that happened today, or the series of raids, was the culmination of a year-long investigation. First, though, the details. These are pictures of what the DEA, King County Sheriffs, and the Tahoma Narcotics Enforcement Team confiscated just today. We're talking 13 pounds of heroin, 4.5 pounds of meth. But during this whole investigation, again, it was a year long, authorities seized 33 pounds of meth and 27 pounds of heroin, along with $10,000 in cash and 6 firearms. Now, Q13 was the only station that was there during one of the raids that happened off of 26th Avenue South in SeaTac. Police used canines to help in that search. And along with the drugs, cash, and weapons, police also took into evidence other items as well, what looks like appears to be cell phones and perhaps personal documents. This was just one of 10 total locations that were raided today. But as you heard, the region is drowning in meth. So we spoke to the DEA as to why that's happening and whether there is a connection to the state's opioid crisis. Take a listen.
Methamphetamine is a highly addictive substance. It's a stimulant. So we believe it's one of the components that's driving the opioid epidemic, because many times the data shows that users associate methamphetamine or use methamphetamine to counteract opioid withdrawal symptoms, physical pain, a lack of energy. They utilize this stimulant to gain energy.
Yeah, so I don't know if you heard that or not. In other words, it's a counterbalancing effect, if you will, for the abuser. But what's disturbing is that both of these drugs, opioids and meth, bottom line, are just flooding into our streets at the same time. Now, another raid took place in Seattle's South Park neighborhood. And when we talk about the complexity of the drug operation, one neighbor tells us he never suspected anything bad was happening right next door.
Nothing that we've seen. We hadn't seen, any visitors late at night, after hours, anything. It was very quiet.
And when we talked with the DEA, what was even more disturbing is the amount of meth that is coming into our streets. They say just this year, 3,400 pounds of meth have been seized by law enforcement here in the Pacific Northwest. 60% of those drugs that were seized were right here in Western Washington. And unfortunately, that is a record amount for our region. But David, I know we've been talking about this story. You've been following this case. And when you talk to the DEA, what are some of the other reasons why meth is rising here, David?
Well, the simple reason is that it's very cheap, it's very pure, it's very addictive.